Welcome to A Show to Be Named Later with your hosts, Art Carone and Chris Seha, and the man in the middle, Tom McKinney. Take it away, boys.
I'm Art Carone. Welcome to A Show to Be Named Later. This is our second live show, and unlike most sequels, we plan on not disappointing. Terminator 2 was a good sequel. We plan on being just as better than the original. Speaking of two, this is a two-man weave tonight. Our third compatriot, Tom McKinney, decides he wants to go to the Hawks game and bail on us tonight. He's probably trying to sneak into the locker room as we speak. Tom, do not call us for bail money. We don't have that kind of budget. I'm here with Chris. Say hi. Chris, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. It's a pleasure to be here, and I can't be more ecstatic to be here with none other than Arthur Carone.
I hope you folks are ready tonight and didn't eat your dinner, because we're going to feed you a bunch of hot takes, including the Cubs, upcoming MLB free agents, and the Bears. Let's get it popping. Let's start with our beloved Cubs. You were at the game the other night. How was the atmosphere there?
Oh, it was playoff atmosphere. Everyone was live. Every pitch, they were into every pitch, and they were ready to go. And unfortunately, the game I went to, I must have been bad luck because they ended up losing that game 6-0. There wasn't much in way of the offense, and as Chris Archer as well shut down the Cubs offense that day.
But the Cubs last night showed some offense, winning 7-6 in 10 innings. But the bullpen let them down in the 9th inning, blowing a 6-2 lead. Now, I am one of those people who tend to be like Joe Madden pulls his starters too early. Was Quintana pulled too early yesterday?
Absolutely pulled too early. He was around 70 pitches, as you alluded to. Only gave up 2 hits, and both of those were solo jacks. Looked like he was moving pretty good. 5 innings pitched, and I just feel like that's too early to pull someone, especially when you're trying to gear up for the playoff.
Yeah, with Quintana only being at 74 pitches, you don't want to pull him that early. I understand he gave his 2 solo homers, but it was 6-2. Man's going to have a longer leash if you want to trust him in the playoffs.
Well, I think a lot of that goes to maybe just his belief and confidence in the bullpen that they will get it done, because they've been doing it all year. They've been basically working their rotation and just getting by with the bullpen, filling in those spots.
Yeah, I mean, with your top 2 closers out, Brandon Morrow being 1, and Pedro Strop, who was filling in for Morrow, being 2, and being very questionable for the playoffs, who do you feel like needs to step up for the playoffs for the bullpen to be successful?
Well, I think it has to definitely be Steve Cishek, of course, but the one guy that I really want to touch on is Carl Edwards right now.
I mean, he does have the best stuff in that bullpen. He's just so inconsistent, a la old Carlos Marmol. You just can't trust him in big spots.
Exactly. Last night he comes in and walks 2 batters again. Over his last couple games, he's 4 and a third innings pitched, 2 hits, 3 earned runs, a 6.23 ERA, 7 walks with 7 strikeouts.
That's always been his MO, though, because even coming up through the minors, you didn't want to give him multiple days in a row, and you did not want to give him multiple innings because he could not be salvaged. I mean, the Cubs are a Jekyll and Hyde team, only a half game up after Milwaukee swept the Cardinals. Milwaukee's off tonight, and the Cubs are currently winning, so they can have a full game lead going into this weekend series against the Cardinals. The Cubs, however, did clinch a playoff spot along with Milwaukee tomorrow. I just hope they avoid that dreaded wild card playing game.
Yeah, you don't want to go in there, especially anything's left up to chance there. It's regardless, anything can happen in that one game. A guy can pitch great, a guy can pitch phenomenal, a guy can pitch terrible, or you could have some unknown unheralded player come along and have a big game. I would rather not. I'd rather go ahead and clinch that.
Yeah, I'd rather just take care of business this weekend against the Cardinals. I mean, that even makes it sweeter. If the Cubs can clinch this weekend a division against the Cardinals and knock the Cardinals out of any kind of playoff contention. As it stands right now, the Cardinals currently sit 1 game out of the NL wildcard and have no chance at the division. Who can you trust in this lineup? The lineup has been much maligned, a lot of injuries, a lot of question marks. Who do you trust to perform in the playoffs?
Well, right now, you have to hope that Mr. Chris Bryant comes back and has no ill effects from that hit by pitch that he had the other night. And that's your bell cow. He was your former MVP in 2016. That's someone you really need to lean on. Unfortunately, over his last 15 games, he's had 51 plate appearances, a .231 average, a .310 on-base percentage, and a .385 slugging. Over that time, 21 Ks, 5 RBIs, and 1 home run. I
mean, for the year, he only played 98 games because he had that shoulder injury that just gave him a bugaboo, and then recently he had that hand injury. I mean, when you have to revamp your entire swing, that doesn't bode well. Even a former MVP, he has to play at a former MVP level for the Cubs to be successful in the playoffs. Are there any other players you need to step up?
Absolutely. You have to have trust on Kyle Schwarber. He's just that presence, that big bat.
Well, you can't be hating on the Babe Ruth. I mean, he was the second coming of Babe Ruth when he came up, wasn't he?
I think we might have got a little too overzealous
little
in
over
our
our skis
prediction.
on that one. I mean, he had that Babe Ruth like mystique when he came back in the 2016 World Series. Had over 400 batting average, and he definitely helped the Cubs in the games in Cleveland because that's the only game he was able to play because he was not able to play the field. And the Cubs won the World Series.
Yeah, those Ruthian comparisons.
Yeah.
Maybe we needed to be a little less French fries and more pizza slices there.
Oh yeah, that was a little much. I mean, Schwarber this year, 134 games, 26 homers, but only 61 RBIs, and he's batting under 260. That is not. I mean, he was hailed as a great hitter when he came up. That's why the Cubs drafted him. Not for his defense, because he used to be a catcher. Now he's a left fielder, and
His defense has improved, and in fairness to
much.
him, he's put the work in.
Yes.
The one thing that I'm really kind of down about is for the simple fact that his patience at the plate, that was unheralded when he came up. He would take pitches. He had a great feeling for his strike zone.
Yep.
And it seems since Joe might have moved him into the leadoff role
spot last year, correct?
He expanded his strike zone, and now he's chasing pitches that he normally didn't do when he first came up.
Now, see, I'm more of a person that thinks the sabermetrics, you can make the numbers tell you whatever story you want to tell. But with Schwarber in the leadoff spot, his OBP, he takes a lot of pitches, he works the count, and he gets on base. I think that messed Schwarber up, just like they tried Jason Hayward when they first acquired him. That didn't work out. Joe needs to quit tinkering with the lineup and be more consistent with these players, and he can only rely on a certain amount of players in the playoffs. And he's got a really short leash with his starters and a really short leash with his bench.
Let me ask you this, then. I'm curious. Another player that has had a down year, had projections as somebody that probably could have been an MVP as well, especially with his second half last year. We're talking about Wilson Contreras.
Oh yeah, he got a cannon for an arm. He hit over 20 homers last year, and then what happened? He fell off the cliff, but he still started the All-Star game, and I guess that says something. But it's also just like a prom. You won prom queen. Good job. What are you going to do for me in the playoffs?
Over his last 43 plate appearances, 163 average, 234 on base, and a 209 slugging. That will not get it done. 11 Ks, 4 RBIs, and 0 home runs in the last 15 games.
In the bigger picture, for the year, 134 games, 9 homers, 52 RBIs. That's not All-Star-like. Let's get to the last player, and obviously, for obvious reasons, he is not going to be around for the playoffs. Addison Russell, MLB announced today that he will be suspended pending an investigation through at least Sunday. I don't see Addison Russell being able to be with this team anymore. Joe Maddon has come out and said he will be welcomed back with open arms. I don't like it. I don't believe it. That's very Urban Meyer-esque, and that is not the right message to send to your fan base.
Absolutely not. Joe Maddon, the guy who always fancies himself as one of the smarter guys in the room, he totally botched this, Art.
Oh, yeah.
He was tone deaf on the whole thing. When they asked about it, he basically said, I didn't listen to it. I didn't read it. And that's something you can't do. You have to have all the facts. He was just basically waiting. Took the cheap way out and said, you know what, I'm going to wait till the whole investigation gets done, and I just felt that he botched that totally.
Well, they also announced today that Theo Epstein will now be handling all further questions on the domestic violence issue. Hopefully the Cubs can take care of business tonight and this weekend against the Cardinals and avoid that dreaded wildcard playing game. Speaking of wildcards, which free agent will be numero uno in the MLB offseason? We'll tell you when we come back here on a show to be named later.
Man, I'm so hungry. I need somewhere to eat fast. I have no idea where to go.
Psst. Hola, me llamo El Taco de Taco. You know where to go for the amazing taste that'll have you craving more? Taco Bell.
Alright, can I get 20 tacos, please? Thanks, Taco.
De nada.
Good. That's it. Eat the tacos.
Taco Bell.
Throughout the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, Judy Finelli established herself as a masterful juggler and performer, making appearances everywhere from Carnegie Hall to Sesame Street. With her loving heart, she has brought warm smiles to children everywhere she has performed. She even started the San Francisco School for the Circus Arts, but shortly after, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and by 2004, she was completely paralyzed. In celebration of her accomplishments and to fight the illness that had crippled Judy, a group of students from the San Francisco Clown College have compiled the perfect holiday present for those who want to laugh and to help those struggling with the illness. The goal has been set at $1 million raised, with 100% of any dollar made to be donated to the Judy Finelli Fund, which is helping find a cure to multiple sclerosis. Visit www.circuscenter.org to make a donation or to purchase a framed naked clown photo or the full Naked Clown 12-month calendar. Remember, 100% of every dollar is donated and goes to fighting MS.
Every 5 minutes, someone in the United States is a victim of bullying by a sober person.
Really? Drinking again? You guys are such losers.
You're such losers. Such losers.
Losers. Bullying by sober people leaves scars that you can't always see.
Losers!
Learn how to be better at StopSoberBullying.org.
Man, are you still working out? It's like 1,000 degrees.
Intense heat is nothing. To get an intense workout, you gotta be intense.
Our friend here is getting an intense workout with the intense cool of his Hydrotech Cool Breeze shoes, which brings your feet a cooling sensation that is the best on the market today. Can only be explained with one word: intense! Whether you're working out hard or just taking a stroll, these shoes have got your back, or I should say, your feet.
Aren't these shoes intense?
Maybe a little too intense, but there's no doubt they're cool.
I'm the only winner on the team. The rest of them are losers, either by choice or by birth.
Rockstar. And welcome back to A Show to Be Named Later. I'm Art Crone with Chris Seha, and that, of course, was Jack Parkman of Major League 2, another sequel that is very good. Today, in this segment, we're going to talk about upcoming MLB free agents, who's changing addresses, and who's fattening their pocketbooks. Chris, let's start with the much-maligned Bryce Harper.
25 years old, 6-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, and an MVP as well. And I think he's ready to break the bank. My question for you, is he ready to leave Washington?
Oh, he's ready to leave Washington, that's for sure. I mean, averaging out of his yearly average, 278, 32 homers, 91 RBIs. You sign me up for that. I'm not sure what he's going to get paid because there was talks of him getting $300 million. I wouldn't do that. That's too much money for him. I would say maybe in the 25 to 30 year range, 30 million range, but on a shorter deal.
Well, he's certainly entering his prime right now, but his numbers this year, 244, on base of 391, slugging 494, 34 home runs, 100 RBIs. I mean, he's still putting up the consistent numbers. The one thing you would probably prefer to see is a higher batting average, but as we know, we've come to learn that that's not really the true indication of someone's value.
Right, and when a player becomes a free agent, what do teams want to look at? You look at where can you help me and how can you help me in the playoffs? Bryce Harper has never won a playoff series. Yeah, he's got the hardware, but he needs to have the moxie and the cojones to win in the playoffs.
That's a strong take right there. But the one thing that you want to always do when you go into free agency, you want to pay someone for future performance.
That's right.
You don't want to pay them for
you don't want to pay
performance.
For the past.
And he, at being only 25 years old, I feel that he still has brighter days ahead of him in his illustrious career.
Yeah, but he's already had a couple off-the-field skirmishes, little off-the-field issues. That fight with Jonathan Papelbon in the dugout wasn't helping cases at all. And he also had that the clown question, bro thing. I think he's more worried about being a star in the media than being a star in the field.
So we're both in agreement. We probably feel that he's going to leave Washington.
Oh, I think he's going to leave. It's a matter of.
So where do you think he's going to go?
I mean, that Bryant Harper connection is very strong, but I don't know if I want him here. I mean, do I want him in that lineup? Yes. Do I want the personality? Maybe not. This team is too chill to have that kind of abrasive personality.
There's certainly one team that I see coming out as an outlier, and that right there is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies. They have the money, they're trending upwards, and they're going to need someone to fill that stadium coming up.
And how sweet would that be for Bryce Harper to exact revenge for the next 8 to 10 years on a team that he never won with? I think that might be a good selling point. I like where you're going with that.
And I think he might end up teaming up with another gentleman that we're about to talk about, Manny Machado.
Ooh, I mean, the Phillies got money, the Phillies got the market. Manny Machado, 4-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, a Platinum Glove Award winner, and his yearly average is 282, 31 homers, 90 RBIs. And this is his 5th straight 30 home run season. And like you said, you're paying for what you're doing currently. He got traded and is still producing.
Yeah, this is something where his average right now through the year, 295 average. He's got a 366 on base percentage, and he's slugging .539, as well as you said, the 37 home runs, 104 RBIs. Those are superstar numbers.
Now, everybody worried when he left, he wasn't getting much pub. The Orioles park is always empty. They never finished they made the playoffs a couple times, but nothing ever crazy. Going to LA in the big market, he's been performing nicely. So that is not going to shy away big market teams such as the Yankees and the Red Sox from getting him.
Well, to counter argue that right there, since the trade, he's had a 267 average, and his OPS has dipped to 824, which is still respectable nonetheless.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not like he went into the cellar. I mean, where do you see Machado ending up? I mean, 5 straight 30 home run seasons, middle of the order shortstop / third baseman, depending on what he feels like doing that time of day.
He certainly fills a need for the team that I mentioned already, the Philadelphia Phillies. They have the second most homer-friendly park, and they just had a TV deal negotiated back in 2014, a 25-year contract worth $2.5 billion. They are going to be printing money over there, and they can afford both of them.
You know who else is going to be printing money? The team we both love on the north side. They're getting their own TV network in 2019. They might have a need at shortstop or second base or third base. Manny Machado, I'd like to see him in the middle of this lineup.
So since you brought that up, then let me ask you, would you rather have Addison Russell at shortstop, minus the whole allegations and what's going on, or Manny Machado at short?
Manny Machado at short, Javi Baez at second. I say you can't turn down a mid-20s shortstop in his prime, coming off of 3 straight 30 home run seasons. That would look magnificent.
Well, you're going to lose a little bit on the defensive presence by putting Machado in, because he's nowhere near the fielder that Russell is.
I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah, especially if he's going to hit over 30 home runs and 100 RBIs a year.
And the last person we're going to get to here, he can opt out of his current contract and become a free agent. Clayton Kershaw, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, Triple Crown Award winner, and MVP. His yearly average, 16 wins, 7 losses, and 34 starts, 2.3 ERA, and an astonishing 244 strikeouts. That's over his career average. Yes, he's had some back issues, but he's still a top 5 starter in this league.
His decade of dominance speaks for itself. He's the only National League pitcher to win the league's most valuable player award in the past half-century. He has the lowest career ERA of any pitcher with at least 1,500 innings in the live era ball, and that dates back to 1920, Arthur.
1920, before the Cubs didn't have lights back then either. Kershaw is going to end up, if he wants to leave LA, LA needs to make a deep playoff run in order to keep Clayton Kershaw, but they are printing their own money, and he just might stay there just because he likes LA, he never gets rained out, and they're printing money.
Well, my issue with him, though, and I think a lot of other teams will see that, 30 years old, his
Back
average
issues.
velocity is dropped by 3 miles per hour. Like you said, he's been injury-prone the last couple of years. So I could see that working against him, like we alluded to earlier. You want to pay for future performance, not past. And I think maybe with Kershaw being on the wrong side of 30, that might be a hindrance to any big deal he might want to get.
Speaking of a player on the wrong side of 30, Sunday the Bucks dock their ship at Navy Pier and bring some Fitzmagic to the lakefront. Will Khalil and the Grizzly Bears have the man to stop him? Find out when we get back here on a show to be named later.
Man, are you still working out? It's like 1,000 degrees.
Intense heat is nothing. To get an intense workout, you gotta be intense.
Our friend here's getting an intense workout with the intense cool of his Hydrotech Cool Breeze shoes, which brings your feet a cooling sensation that is the best on the market today. Can only be explained with one word: intense! Whether you're working out hard or just taking a stroll, these shoes have got your back, or I should say, your feet.
Aren't these shoes intense?
Maybe a little too intense, but there's no doubt they're cool.
Throughout the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, Judy Finelli established herself as a masterful juggler and performer, making appearances everywhere from Carnegie Hall to Sesame Street. With her loving heart, she has brought warm smiles to children everywhere she has performed. She even started the San Francisco School for the Circus Arts, but shortly after, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and by 2004, she was completely paralyzed. In celebration of her accomplishments and to fight the illness that had crippled Judy, a group of students from the San Francisco Clown College have compiled the perfect holiday present for those who want to laugh and to help those struggling with the illness. The goal has been set at $1 million raised, with 100% of any dollar made to be donated to the Junie Finelli Fund, which is helping find a cure to multiple sclerosis. Visit www.circuscenter.org to make a donation or to purchase a framed Naked Clown photo or the full Naked Clown 12-month calendar. Remember, 100% of every dollar is donated and goes to fighting MS.
Rockstar energy drink. It's a party in a can.
Rockstar energy drink. It's a party in a can.
Honey, I'm home. What's wrong with you?
Fellas, it doesn't have to be this way. Get your boo a bouquet at Emotional Bonding. Let the fine folks at Emotional Bonding throw you a bone and bail you out of the town.
Is she kind of mad? Like this? Or is she really mad?
You forgive me?
Of course.
Thank you, Emotional Bonding.
Here at Emotional Bonding,
We don't just deliver flowers, we deliver emotions.
And welcome back to a show to be named later. I'm Art Carone with Chris Seha, the man who Fitzmagic has no effect on. Ryan Fitzpatrick is expected to start for Tampa 2-1, and he's taking Khalil Mack and the league leaders in sacks, the Chicago Bears. Chris, can the Bears stop Fitzmagic?
Obviously, they can stop him. They have one of the highest-ranked defenses in the league. They have the most sacks. The one thing with Fitzmagic, you can't allow him to get comfortable in the pocket. You get pressure in his face. He's prone to throwing interceptions like he did this last week.
Yeah, 3 interceptions on Monday night. I mean, he's very inconsistently inconsistent. I mean, he has those great starts with Buffalo and the Jets, and then he goes 4th or 5th game, he goes in the tank and he remembers who he is. He's 35 years old. He is not the future of this team. Jameis Winston might be. But, I mean, 1,200 yards over the first 3 games is very respectable. 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But like you said, Monday night, he threw 3 picks, got him in a big hole. They almost came back, but they fell short against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the Bucks lead the league in passing, and they're also 3rd in total points. So this will be a nice test, this matchup between the Bears defense as well as the Bucks offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just Fitzpatrick. He's got to throw the ball to people. On this offense, he has Mike Evans on one side, Deshaun Jackson on the other side, and Godwin in the middle. I mean, that's a pretty stacked offense for the Bears' defense to try to stop.
Certainly. The one thing that's troubling to me and it's concerning for me is the fact that one of your starting cornerbacks is going to be out for this game. Prince Amukamara more than likely out, the hamstring issue that he suffered the last game. Marcus Cooper as well. So now you're going to have to turn to an undrafted free agent rookie, Kevin Tolliver, who last week gave up 4 catches, 54 yards on 5 targets.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where the Bears' defense is predicated on one thing, QB pressure. They don't have to sack the quarterback. They just have to make him uncomfortable and basically have a group meeting at the quarterback.
And the one thing that people they're not realizing, the Bears are getting all of this pressure without blitzing. They only blitz on about 10% of their plays right now. So that means they're getting pressure just with their pass rush, the front line. And that's something that you absolutely have to have in spades. I mean, thank you, John Gruden.
Yeah, exactly. Before the season started, the Bears were supposed to have a halfway decent defense. They were a top 10 defense last year. And then John Gruden had a lapse of judgment and gave away one of the best pass rushers in the league to the Chicago Bears, making that defense that much better.
Not even one of the best pass rushers in the league, a generational player who impacts the game on so many levels. The fact that he's probably getting double teamed and triple teamed most of the time is allowing guys like Eddie Goldman to go one-on-one. But you don't want to do that. Akeem Hicks, you cannot block one-on-one. You have to double him as well, but then you can't go in and leave Mack alone out there by himself one-on-one against the tackle.
That linebacking core is nothing to sneeze at. You have Leonard Floyd on one side, Roquan Smith, who's been really improving, Danny Trevathan, who won Player of the Week, Week 2, and then you have Khalil Mack. I mean, that defense is stout up front, and in the linebacking core, which could make the secondary, who if they're a little weak with Prince missing, could be all right.
Yeah, certainly the one thing that'll always stop and negate a pass offense is if you can get that pressure and get there within 3 seconds and make life uncomfortable for Fitzpatrick. And that's something that when he's uncomfortable, he's turnover prone.
Yeah, but I mean, the defense is something I think we can just walk into this week and saying the defense will keep us in the game. But the real big question is, can Mitch do something against the 31st ranked passing defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Well, Art, like you're saying, this is the week for Trubisky to go ahead and show out and show that, put something for the fans as well as his teammates and the organization, some kind of faith to show that, yes, he is a potential future quarterback here. To me, I feel like he's going to be a potential face of the league. He has that kind of talent. Unfortunately, he's been wildly inconsistent so far.
Also, unfortunately for Mitch, he's always going to be compared to the other quarterbacks that were taken in that class. He was the first QB taken. Other quarterbacks taken in that class, Deshaun Watson and Pat Mahomes, who's on fire this year, and that is not making Trubisky look good. I mean, is Trubisky as good as they thought he was? He's got an offensive coach. He's got the weapons. Let's see if he can use them.
The one thing people are failing to realize is the simple fact, not only is this a new offensive system for Trubisky that he has to learn, there's 10 other players as well that are learning the little nuances of this offense, and everything on offense is predicated on rhythm, timing, and I just don't think they're there right now, and you can't fault anybody for that. They just basically put that offense in.
Right, and I mean, the only player with any kind of experience prior to this season in this type of offense is Trey Burton, who came over from Philadelphia, and Doug Peterson, who is also a disciple of Andy Reid. I want to see Trey Burton exceed in this offense and basically be Mitch Trubisky's blanket and best friend.
Yeah, that certainly, like we're saying, the offense right now is 26th overall with 293 yards a game, and Trubisky himself passing is 26 as well with 197 yards a game. That needs the uptick, and I feel like this is the week finally for him ready to break out. He has to do it because right now, like we alluded to earlier, the fact the Bucs can put up numbers on the offensive end.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick set the NFL record this week, being the first person ever to have 3 straight 400-yard-plus passing games. That's a ridiculous stat, even for a 35-year-old. Even there's a bunch of shootouts against New Orleans, who has a bad defense, and Pittsburgh, who's got a terrible defense. I mean, I don't expect him to throw 400 yards from the Bears. If he does, the Bears are in definite trouble.
Well, the one thing that was saving grace, the Bucs are just terrible on defense as well. They're giving up 363 yards a game in the air. So I just feel like he has to perform this week. This is his time to show out.
I mean, Fitzpatrick has not been named the starter, but I expect him to start. Jameis Winston, the #1 overall pick from a couple years ago, is coming off his suspension this week. Do you see Jameis Winston getting any playing time?
I don't think so, because if you go ahead and make that switch, you're just sending that you don't have confidence in your decision. They have to ride it out right now with Fitzpatrick until the wheels fall off. But inevitably, he is not your future quarterback. He's not. He's 35 years old. No. Journeyman. We've seen this. Foolish on us if we believe this is going to continue.
Yeah, in 4 or 5 game stretches for the Bills and for the Jets, he's come out, done things with his giant beard, and been fine with it. All right, Chris, do you have a score prediction?
I got Bears winning 27-14. They're going to hold that Bucs offense down.
Do you have any stars of the game?
Khalil Mack. I think he's going to continue his sack, at least a sack, and a fumble game.
I have the score being 24-10 Bears. I think they take care of business and pretty handily as well. I want to see, like I said, I want to see Trey Burton go a little off.
Well, with Anthony Miller being out, I would like to see Kevin White finally step up. Maybe this is his chance, or maybe we get Javon Wims.
You might want to see what you have in White, because Wims is 7th round pick and kind of light. All right, that is it for our show this week on a show to be named later. Join us next week, Monday, 9:30, same bat time, same bat YouTube channel. For Chris Ceja, I'm Art Carone. Have a nice night.
I'm the only winner on the team. The rest of them are losers, either by choice